All right, the band is back together here in Vegas, and now we're going to talk about today's daily debate. Here you go. I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. What upset, guys, shocked you the most from this past weekend at Bellator 212, Bellator 213, and UFC on Fox 31? You got four choices. Javi Ayala over Frank Mir. Neiman Gracie over Ed Ruth. Ally Quinta over Kevin Lee. And Liam McGeary over King Mo. Now remember, a lot of these have to do with just younger guy versus older guy. Some of them have to do with just the odds that we stare at, you know, so it's a different interpretation of upset. Go ahead, Dan Tom. You lead off. What did you choose here?
Well, McGeary Mo had some decent odd separation as well as Lee Iaquinta, except I felt McGeary was live on paper, and when he showed up to fight week, like he showed up in really good shape. He changed his training camp, so I kind of had a worrisome feeling even though I was riding with Mo there. Lee Iaquinta, I picked Lee. I didn't think he should have been that big of a favorite though. Iaquinta's a game guy, so I don't know if I can go with him there. For me, it comes down to those top two options, and I'm going to side with Ed Ruth versus Neiman Gracie. Amongst many, were you know, putting Ed Ruth up there as this is a guy you guys need to pay attention to. I picked him to win in the video breakdown, but you know, we really, myself included, should have been paying more attention to Neiman Gracie, and I was blown away. He even had my favorite post-fight presser, but the performance obviously speaks the loudest, and he performed.
All right, how about you guys?
For me, it was between Lee Iaquinta and Ed Ruth and Neiman Gracie. But I think right away you have to scratch the Lee Iaquinta one because he's already beaten him once before, so it shouldn't shock you that much.
Right.
But I did think that Kevin Lee was going to win that fight. I'm going to side with Dan. I have to go with that Ed Ruth fight. I really thought Ed Ruth was on to something special. I still think he is, but I know you should never count a Gracie out, but I had counted him out. Well,
just going to show you how big of a buffoon I am because I was going to say Lee and Iaquinta. I guess I still am. But you're right, he beat him once. So learn your lesson, George. It's just that since then, Lee has fought a lot of great lightweights. Even in the Ferguson loss, he competed. You know what I mean? And I felt like since then he had improved. But further to stuff that we discussed either on the breakdown or on today's show, Iaquinta just hadn't been a consistent fighter, whether it was injuries or just time off, you know, button heads with the UFC. And so I thought Lee had caught him and surpassed. And so, you know, I'll put it to you like this. My buddy Frank Taddy texts me and goes, hey, who do you like this weekend? Now, granted, we were with Mom and Dad back in New York, and I had to give him an answer. But the one that stood out to me was I thought Lee was going to even the score, and we would see a trilogy down the road between those guys. And I got it wrong, you know. Hats off to Lee Iaquinta. Sorry, to Ally Iaquinta. And that was a great fight by Ally Iaquinta. But I also know Kevin Lee will be back. But that's the one for me, guys. I didn't see that one coming. And surprisingly enough, feeling like a buffoon at all, I guess people agreed with me, man. 46% said Iaquinta versus Lee.
Wow.
In second place, Ayala over Mir at 25%. Third was Gracie over Ruth, and 13% was McGeary over King Mo. Yeah, surprising. Over 800 votes there. So there you have it. There's the daily debate brought to you by the MMA Junkie Radio team.